Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Funny Business Podcast. Thank you once again for tuning in. We're finally here. We're back to another regular episode. It was weird these past couple weeks not having a recording. Mike, I'm sure you could probably say the same. But it feels good. It feels good to get back in the swing of things.
It certainly feels good to be back at it again with another podcasting week, Matt. It's almost kind of a work schedule, like outside of work for me. So it's certainly nice that we're able to have another recording session again. It did feel weird those past couple of weeks, just not doing anything. But I think for us, took a little bit of time to sit back, relax, be able to think of some great ideas we could talk about for our podcast and just some other little things. Enjoy the holiday and the new year as much as we can.
Yeah, it's always good just to take a break from anything, and just kind of relax for a little bit. It was weird, like last weekend, I was thinking to myself, like, oh man, I got to come up with topics for this week. And I had to remember myself that didn't have an episode. We had an episode, but we didn't have to record. So I'm glad we planned ahead. So we had like a week or two off. So, but the grind doesn't stop and we're back at it.
Yeah, we
bigger
are.
and better in 2021.
Oh, yeah. And thank you all so much for the support from last week's episode regarding our new brand, our new look. Certainly a lot of new visitors within the YouTube page. And Matt, we somehow got a weird spike with our listenership. So, we gotta what do you call it? First impression is everything for everybody.
Yes,
step up
gotta
our game.
Step our game up. Definitely gotta step the game up. We appreciate it, and hope you guys like what we have planned coming in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, Matt, it's kind of funny when we do our podcast. We more so catch up the most when we do our podcast. But last couple of weeks, we really didn't talk to each other other than sending the occasional TikTok and maybe just sending some just little things here and there. But Matt, I just wanted to catch up with you. How is your holiday? How is your Christmas? How is your New Year's? Anything fun and exciting happen?
I mean, it was good. It was pretty relaxing. It was definitely different from years past. Like, we didn't get to see a lot of family.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just nice to kind of hang with my brother and my parents for a few weeks and just kind of just chill out, watch some football, watch some sports. Holiday Christmas was fun. My mom made a ton of cookies, so we had all those cookies to eat. And now, the diet week is starting and we still have leftover cookies. So that's kind of a bit of a struggle for me right now.
So I should be expecting a package sometime soon.
Maybe, keep an eye on the mail. But New Year's was kind of a tough one because like last couple of years I've been going to my friend's house with her family and they have a huge New Year's party. And it was really weird not being there this year. Like I've been there 3 years in a row. And it was tough because like that was like some of the most fun I've ever had for New Year's Eve. But I still FaceTimed with him after midnight and you got to make the best of it.
Yeah. No, it's certainly, I'm sure you're not the only one, Matt, that kind of experienced a sense of not normal. And I honestly, to me, Matt, what's crazy was I did enjoy my Christmas, but I think New Year's was probably one of my most favorite New Year's I've had in a very long time. As crazy as that sounds, and everyone's like, well, Mike, like we're in the middle of a pandemic. Why? How did you? How? Why? What?
That is odd.
So for us, for Christmas, my brother Philip came back from Fort Hood, Texas in the military. So it was kind of nice having all three Gambitas in one household. That's, it's bound to be freaking trouble to begin with. Christmas was a little odd. Matt, I heard that a PS5 was not underneath your Christmas tree this
No,
one.
Santa was not kind to me. Well, Santa got other stuff, but it wasn't blessed with the PS5.
Anything that you got that was the best, or?
I didn't get anything super big. A couple days before Christmas, I got a new phone, so I guess that was kind of the big thing.
I keep forgetting that. Yeah,
so I got the iPhone 12, and it is pretty much smaller than my 8 Plus that I had. However, it's not super hard to get used to. Like the feel of it seems pretty normal, and I got used to not having a home button pretty quickly. I thought that was something I was going to struggle with, but it's actually not too bad. I really like it. And the camera's awesome.
Now, as far as your no home button, has your notifications been faster and more convenient to you? So every time you get a notification, it shows up on your notifications on your home screen, and you're literally tapping it and face unlocks and boom, it goes there.
So I'm actually having trouble with my notifications.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of them.
Oh yeah, I've had the same issue too.
Yeah.
I think that's just an Apple update. That
like ever since I got my new phone, Twitch notifications, like when someone goes live on Twitch, I don't get them. Like, I don't get them at all. Not even on my home screen, on my notification center. I just don't get them.
It's a little upsetting.
I have also had a curse. I've never been able to get Instagram notifications. Like, every time I go on Instagram and my settings, notifications is not an option. So that's just something I have to live with every day.
Which,
for first world probs, it's not a huge deal, but
it's a nice, Matt, as much as I work in social media, I'm kind of like, I wish I had that. Like, I wish I just didn't have the option to get notifications on Instagram. I think my life would be better.
Probably it could be.
Or, of course, I have to text you on the occasion and be like, hey, check your Instagram DM.
Yes, yeah. No, I literally get 0 notifications, which is nice. When I post something, I don't get 20 notifications in the first 10 minutes that someone liked my photo. But
I think this Christmas I officially adulted. I actually got things that were not, like, I guess, under the toys category. Yep. I got a toaster for Christmas. I don't know if I shared that with you.
You did not. I did not know that.
I got a toaster with you.
Is that one of those Star Wars toasters that prints out like the Death Star on it? Could you imagine?
Oh man, that's a throwback, man. I love you bringing that up. No, unfortunately, it's not. It's a very nice one. I've been having bagels with cream cheese every day instead of my OG raspberry Pop-Tarts every day. So nice little switch. The one thing I actually got disappointed with, and the Reeds actually saved the Christmas, I guess is the best way to put it. You can't really save Christmas. It was nice. But so I wanted socks for Christmas, believe it or not.
Oh.
So I sometimes jokingly people are like, yeah, I want socks. And that's when everyone gets socks for Christmas. But I've been getting a lot of holes in my socks. And I ended up actually asking Santa, wink, wink, for socks. I didn't get socks on Christmas Day.
Oh, no.
And I told Jenna, I'm like, I really wanted socks. So luckily enough, Jenna's parents were very nice and very generous to get me some new Nike socks. So I have to thank them for that. That's awesome. Saving Christmas. But they also got me some nice moccasins, new moccasins. I now have indoor moccasins and I also have outdoor moccasins now. So the outdoor ones have a little bit more soul to them. So I'm not flat-footed all the time when I'm out in the concrete jungle of that is my hometown. So but no, I mean, Christmas, I got a couple other things like I got smart light bulbs and they've been a blessing. So I've been able to put one outside my my steps because my steps are completely dark during what do you call it, at night. Of course, that's when it's dark, Mike, at night. I'm trying to think if I got anything else in particular that kind of stood out. Oh, I did get my theater chair finally. I mean, that was old news to you, but I actually got a theater chair for my living room. I was almost tempted to switch all my stuff, push all my stuff out to the theater chair and do the podcast there today, but I was like, you know what? That's too much work.
We'll save it for the next in-person podcast when COVID dies down a little bit.
So we have to share the theater chair? That's going to be weird.
Well, no, but you can sit in yours and I'll sit on the futon or something.
Oh, that actually might work.
Yeah.
But yeah, New Year's was crazy. I mean, I said probably one of my best New Year's in a long time. So I was down at Jenna's family's house. We call her a little pod because I've seen those people for so long and, it's just our pod. It's our most frequent visited people. So I brought my turntables. So for those who don't know, I actually have a set of turntables like DJ, like wicka wicka wicka, wicka wicka.
They're pretty epic.
They're cool. Matt's
they're
spun
awesome.
some tracks on them a couple times. But the thing is it has a nice autoplay feature, so it plays the songs, but also auto fades in certain points. So it looks like somebody's actually DJing. But I literally made a playlist, and what was funny is we didn't watch any of the the show presentation of the ball drop, the virtual Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. But Matt, did you see Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, unfortunately I did. Yeah, that was weird. I saw that live and I was like, what yeah, I guess this is the perfect way to end 2020.
So context being, Andy Cohen was asking Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper works for CNN. Andy Cohen is this kind of like pop culture host for a couple shows here and there. And wanted to know if he did drugs, Anderson Cooper, and he said no. And before even that, would imagine an acid trip, and the immediate reaction was Anderson's like, no. And Cohen was like, well, it's time. We're doing it tonight. You're coming over after the show.
Kind of scary that he just has like acid on him. Like he legit just admitted, yeah, I got some acid in my apartment. You want to go do some? Like, I don't understand how that whole what went through his head. Like, why would you just say, hey, let's go do acid live on television on one of maybe the most watched television days of the year, or New Year's Eve?
I feel like every year those two, more so Andy Cohen than Anderson Cooper, because I feel like Anderson just lives a life of just professionalism with CNN. But Andy Cohen, I think, is every year he's at least somewhat tipsy. So, I mean, hey, it's what keeps you warm out in New York City in the middle of December. So,
I think if you're on TV on New Year's Eve, you should be a little tipsy, just not be doing acid. That would be. Could you imagine if like someone actually went on? Like they did acid during the commercial break, came back, like what that would be like. That'd be dangerous.
I could not imagine that.
No.
I have been, on live streams itself, not in particular related to my job, but I have been tipsy on some live streams. And it's a little interesting trying to navigate. And I mean, especially for these guys, they have IFBs in their ears. So they're probably getting the producers to tell them like, stop, you have 2 minutes, you have 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15. All right, wrap up. I could just imagine the poor fella, the poor producer in Andy Cohen's ear trying to get him to stop talking. Like it's like that one scene.
Please shut up about the acid.
It's like that one
Don't
scene.
do it.
One scene in Anchorman 2 where they were going to do crack. And literally there was the producer in the back was like, don't smoke it. Oh, man.
You couldn't have drawn up a better ending to one of the New Year's Eve shows than that.
Mm-hmm. But I think this year was the first time I actually had champagne at midnight. So, the Reeds, super good hosts. So I really thank them for having such a good
I'm not
night.
a huge champagne fan, like by itself. I don't love the taste. But this year, the one we got was actually pretty good. I was pleased with it.
Good old mimosas. You're always a fan of mimosas.
We got to have mimosas on New Year's Day. And then you had the first, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. Might sound weird or cough.
Disgusting.
It's not COVID. But I have a bit of cold. You had your first ever pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day, correct?
Nope.
You said you had pork on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the second year I've had it.
Oh, okay. Well, you still. Well, not a lot of people don't know it's Pennsylvania Dutch tradition to have pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day. It's supposed to bring good luck for the rest of the year.
Not typically a fan of the sauerkraut, but I will enjoy I'll take it out of the sauerkraut.
I did sauerkraut for the first time this year. Actually, it wasn't terrible. I mean, I put it on my pork and then smothered the whole thing in gravy, but it still tasted good.
Hey, whatever you like, man. New year, new you.
Absolutely. Like I said, diet starts this week.
Well, I think the last bit of 2020 kind of blessed us with a super meme, Matt, that I thought I wanted to talk to you about today. Matt and I have, which by the way, I forgot to do this before we started recording. So a little bit of 2021 beer for you.
I'm upset you just started now.
Yeah, me too. You want to do acid, Matt?
No, thank you. Pass.
Well, we're doing it tonight. It seemed like 2020, as a horrible year as it was, kind of sprinkled in one final meme that we could all just talk about into the new year. And it's more of a reading it, and when you're going to hear it, it sounds more of a serious topic, but literally the internet turned it into a meme, which is how all memes are started. Is maybe it was serious, but actually turned, like the crying Michael Jordan face, like that was very serious, but turned into a meme. But here we are, local gas station, not a local gas station here, a gas station in Ohio was dealing with a gentleman that was being racist. We'll be flat out with that. Was really saying some racial slurs, was really not a big fan of it. I didn't like hearing the audio, Matt. I know that probably makes you uncomfortable at times too.
It was a little uncomfortable. Definitely not on that guy's side at all.
Yeah. So the racist, we'll just call him that because that's what he is. Racist was at the front of the counter, was just yelling. I don't even know what the huge context was, but was just yelling at the front of the counter.
Yeah, I don't even know what started it. He started the video and he just started going off on this dude who didn't seem like he was The racist seemed like he was drunk. I don't know if he is, but he seemed like something
Maybe.
was going on. I don't know.
Maybe. But even so, it was still going off. Also, too, Matt, if you didn't notice, the guy wasn't wearing a mask either.
I didn't notice that.
That was another thing that was like, ugh. So, he wasn't alone. He was surrounded by two other people, and of course, the cashier that was at the counter, and started getting in a guy's face. So was yelling at him, going after him. Wasn't necessarily like throwing hands or throwing a punch, but like was addressing him directly. The man had a Twisted Tea and was ready to check out. And
a tall can of Twisted Tea.
Very tall can of Twisted Tea, which, let me add again, that was one of the fine quality spirits that Matt and I would usually choose when we're going on a Thursday night. So this is why it's totally relatable. Kind of. Ended up the guy... Here's the thing that I noticed that I was like, okay, definitely wanted to. So what happened was the guy kept going after him. The racist kept going after him. The guy wanted to flip his tea can to catch it, but he dropped it. And then the racist tried kicking it. The guy picked it up and then uppercutted the racist with the Twisted Tea can. The Twisted Tea went all over the place, and then they got into a fight, and then the video stopped. And Twisted Tea has become the next military weapon of the United States by far.
A guy just full on smacked him with the Twisted Tea.
I mean, that was World Star. Like,
oh my gosh.
I wish somebody yelled out World Star after that, but
I never knew a Twisted Tea can could do that much damage. Right. I mean, that guy was down, and then he got beat up more, which good. He deserved it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I thought he was knocked out cold at first from the Twisted Tea.
I think you saw it in his eyes by just how, like, what?
He definitely got a concussion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, so internet has been going crazy for this whole Twisted Tea thing. You know, Call of Duty, when the loot crates that came out was showing a Twisted Tea can. You know, everybody's like, well, instead of a bat to put in your bed in case a robber comes, you know where to pull out the refrigerator, a Twisted Tea can.
It was, we're getting to a point in our life, at least I am. I saw the Twisted Tea memes for like 2 hours, and I had no idea what was going on. Like, absolutely no idea. I feel like I'm getting to that point in life where like I'm getting a little old, that like I don't always know what's up to date. Like there was one yesterday with Bean Dad. I saw Bean Dad memes all over the place, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? But that was one of my favorite videos of 2020, if not my favorite video. There's just, we got to put some respect on Twisted Tea's name. I feel like people jab at Twisted Tea for being like a fruity drink and a girly drink, but Twisted Teas are great. And guess what? You can kick the shit out of someone with it. So boom, get wrecked. Also, that guy was holding a Bud Light. That Bud Light didn't.
Oh yeah,
Twisted Tea did.
Yeah. I mean, what would you bring? It's like bringing in a Bud Light to a Twisted Tea fight, if you know what I'm saying. So.
Could you imagine if he would have hit him with a Four Loko?
Oh my gosh!
I think he would have died.
He would have died.
Yeah. That would have been the end of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's too funny to think because, again, Matt, like we were saying, like we drank them when we were going out. We were doing the pregame at college, so I guess we just never really realized the velocity that you can toss a Twisted. I mean, it never got physical at any party that we've been to, but like. If only we knew beforehand the true power of a Twisted Tea can, I'd probably pop somebody if I actually was being annoyed.
I guess we're either blessed that we didn't have fights that we had to use Twisted Tea can for, or we're stupid that we didn't think of this in the first place.
Yeah, I mean...
Like a loser of beer pong gets slapped in the face by Twisted Tea. Could you imagine?
No.
Oh my gosh.
We would end up having more hospital trips than the average, what do you call it? Than an average... I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yes. Yeah. It's a fact.
Yeah, so...
good for Twisted Tea, though. Their sales had to go through the roof from this.
Whether it's used as a battering ram or just as a casual drink.
Listen, don't buy Twisted Tea. Just you drink it first. Maybe keep one in the freezer in case an intruder comes in your house.
That would hurt 10 times more.
Next thing you know, Twisted Tea is going to come out with like a can slinger, like a t-shirt slinger. Put 2 cans in. It's like pop a cap in your ass. This is genius work.
Yeah, I haven't. Have you seen Twisted Tea take this on, or
I haven't. No, I will say there was a new Twisted Tea game on Facebook. Have you seen that?
I have not.
So like I'm just scrolling through Facebook and it's like one of those interactive games, or interactive ads for Twisted Tea, and literally it's like it's cornhole. Like you just swipe your finger and play cornhole. I play it all the time. Every time it comes up on my Facebook feed, I stop what I'm doing and I play cornhole for like 5 minutes. It's that I have seen. I feel like that, is this something they want to use as like good marketing for them? Because like the video is kind of bad, and like, do they want them being associated with violence?
Matt, I think this, as much as I probably really don't want to go into the whole, racial justice thing, not just because I don't want to, it's just it's another conversation for another day besides this topic. But depending on what Twisted Tea put out as far as like the statement, if they had one about all those recent things, like maybe that's kind of something, is it violence right in this situation? Probably not. But I think one of the things what I see Twitter going off of was 4 days ago when they posted their New Year's post, was the year of the tea. And you have a bunch of people replying like how to bring in the new year with Twisted Tea, and it's all literally just the memes and the stuff about how like even with the Star Wars, like Luke, when Obi-Wan introduces him to a lightsaber, they photoshopped a Twisted Tea, and it's like an elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
The memes that came out of this were just awesome. Once I finally understood what was going on, it was hysterical.
Yeah, I think I got a hold of it as soon as I think I saw the second one. I'm like, all right, and then literally saw the video right below it. I'm like, okay, this is what happened.
Good for
and
Twisted
ouch.
Tea.
And ouch.
And ouch. Yeah, it looked like it hurt.
Oh, Matt. Well, to kick off the new topics, we had a little unusual episode last week. We had a really good interview by Honesdale High School senior Connor Core. If you haven't yet, make sure you go watch that or listen to it. However, let's start off the new year with a very popular game that we both enjoyed within the entertainment portion of the podcast was What's the Word? In the wise words of Matt, you all know how this works, but in case you don't, in case you're new to the new year, what we do is I go to randomwordgenerator.com and I literally click, or click once, click twice, however many. Matt, how many times I'm clicking for the first one?
5.
I'm going to click 5 times. There's a word that shows up, and we have to think of the first thing that comes to mind when the word comes out. It is strictly nouns, and again, one word. So I'm going to click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Matt, the first word we're going to be talking about is patent.
Patent.
Yeah.
Wonder, what do you think if there's one thing you could patent?
Oh, wow, look at you.
As I cough again.
Yeah. One thing I could come up with a patent for.
Or like one patent that like you maybe like recently just came out that you wish you thought of. I don't know. I don't even know if I have an answer for this, but I feel like you have a pretty good one with technology.
I feel like cross-promotional play with any video game.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Not just, for those who don't know, like Fortnite, for instance, back then you only were allowed to play like Halo was Xbox and Xbox, MLB The Show, PlayStation. Like, I think they need a little bit more versatility based on that. But I think there should be a patent for literally cross-promotional play. Like just one platform, one social profile that covers all cross-promotional play with all the video game systems that we have.
That's a good one. That's something that now we've seen with Fortnite. We've seen with Warzone.
Fortnite started it.
We've seen with Among Us. It wouldn't happen without Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can wreck Fortnite for maybe not people leaving the game, whatnot. Just get better at the game. That's really not hard.
Good, kid.
But yeah. But if Fortnite didn't happen, like this cross gameplay probably wouldn't be a thing.
Mm-hmm. What about
people
you?
don't realize that.
Yeah. What about you? Anything that you thought of?
Actually, I think cross platform is a pretty good one. I think that's our consensus answer.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one. Grip.
When you let's stick to video games.
Okay.
Controller
Player.
Controller player. That is a controller player. Did you ever use like grips for your controllers?
Like little stubs
Like
that you put on.
silicone grips.
No, I haven't.
I got some for my PlayStation 4 just because like they look kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like I'm conflicted when I get the new PlayStation because like the controller looks so clean. I don't know if I want to use a grip to ruin it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I was trying to think like what needs a better grip. You know what?
My phone case needs a better grip. I will say this about my phone. I got my old phone case had like little ridges on the side.
Yeah.
That I gripped it better. This one is a spec. I love spec cases. But it's a little slippery. And I'm a little nervous.
Did you ever play Heads Up before?
Like Heads Up 7-Up?
No, Heads Up where the Ellen game where you put your phone over your head and it comes up. It's literally like this, but you have to guess what the word is without saying the word to the person. So we played. No, it wasn't even that. Jenna was holding on my phone and it slipped and she goes, Mike, you need to get a better phone case. And I'm like, no, I like my phone case. I'm all about like, it looks like there's not a case on the phone, but really in reality there is. If you're seeing a YouTube video, you'd be like, oh yeah, Mike definitely has a case on it. But I just don't like designs. Like I'm all about, I'm basic.
People have certain preferences how they want their phones to look. Like I know people love those pop sockets. I'm okay. I could never get a pop socket.
I'm okay.
I just got a tickle in the back of my throat.
You poor guy.
Like I could never do a pop socket on a phone.
No, you can't. You know what they need a better gripping for? They need a better gripping for transportation. So like for instance, like when you're in a subway, when it's appropriate again, like having the poles that you hold on to.
And they need more of them.
Right. More poles.
There's not enough. Yeah, we need more grips on subways. That is a big issue.
Mm-hmm. Huge issue. Big issue. So another one, Matt. Hook. You ever gone fishing before?
I actually like going fishing.
Do you?
So when we go to Ocean City,
okay.
There's a place fishtails. I have like a tickle right now. Every time I talk, it's just coming up. Here, you talk for a second. Let me try this.
Yeah. So go ahead, Matt. So I've actually when we had our old house, we had a pond. And we actually put fish in the pond. We had a lot of bluegill. There was a bunch of bluegill, like to the point where when we were riding around the ATVs and whatnot, like we always had to feed the fish when we went riding. You literally saw the streams from the bluegill from the pond go straight to where the ATV was riding, just so they can get bread. We usually have like packs of bread that were in there, but like we fished. But when we caught them, we just put them back. We actually didn't eat them because they kind of were like pets to a weird degree. So
that is interesting. I've never heard anyone have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What I was trying to say before I almost choked and died. When we go to Ocean City, there's a restaurant, Fishtails, that has like a little marina next to it.
Okay.
It's like associated with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a boat called the Tortuga. And the Tortuga does like 3-hour bay trips that you can fish in. So you don't cast, you just kind of like drop your line on a boat. Sometimes your lines get caught. But if you catch, we usually go for flounder. That's what they go for. So if you catch flounder of the right size, like the legal size limit or bigger, you keep it and they'll skin it for you and make fillets for you and all that stuff.
Wow.
This past summer, I was like 1.5 inches off. I think it had to be 16.5 feet and I had like a 16.5 inches. I had like a 15-inch flounder. I was pissed. Wow. And my dad had caught like a 14.5-inch flounder. But it's fun. Like I like fishing. I just don't do it that often.
Yeah, I do you ever want to go deep sea? Well, I'm sure, is that kind of deep sea fishing to a degree?
No, because they just stay in the bay.
Okay, yeah. I would love to see how deep sea fishing goes.
I would be nervous, but I think it'd be cool. Like I see videos of people catching a shark and like they have to try and cut the line. I'm out. I ain't doing that shit.
I'm a head out.
Yeah. Great SpongeBob meme.
Oh yeah. All right, Matt. Next one. Menu.
What I feel like what's more important to you when you go out for like maybe not a fancy dinner, but like a dinner, a place you haven't been to before? What's a more important menu? Food menu or drink menu?
Food.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I feel like I'd rather have a more unique drink menu.
Yeah, I mean, I think based on that, like you want to know what they can make. Like, unless you want to go for the draft, like, you go for the typical draft, you have all of your common drafts. And like, if they don't, then I think like, usually the signature drink shows up on like, I don't want to call it the chalkboard, but it's like always signature drink. And then it shows up what it is. But I'm such a foodie, man. I've become so much more of a foodie now, like experiencing so many new restaurants with Jenna and whatnot. Like, I want to know what the food's there for. Like,
my thing is like, I think you're always going to find something you're going to eat though. And like, sometimes like I would like to have like unique cocktail at a restaurant.
see, here's the thing that not bothers me, but the thing that makes me a little weary sometimes. I don't like a menu that's 6 pages.
See,
I like a menu that's like 3. Because
like a food menu or like an entire menu?
Food,
okay.
Entrees, that stuff. Because yes, it's less options, but instead of making 6 pages of food, they're so focused on, let's just say 10 to 15 menu items that they can actually perfect what they're making.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't really think of that. I don't know, sometimes when I go out, like I want a unique cocktail that I can't make at home. And not most of the things, but a lot of times when I go out, like it tastes better than what we can make at home, but you can make a lot of the stuff that you get at restaurants and you're at home. So sometimes when I go out, I'd rather get like a unique cocktail if it's not hopefully like $30. That is something that I don't have the capabilities to make when I'm in my own house.
You know what I hope for the next couple years?
What?
So because of the pandemic, they've tried limiting and like passing things and whatnot. So they've went digital menus with QR codes.
Yes.
I hope, as weird as this sounds, and this is a total huge take it, I hope menus get less and less frequent at a restaurant.
Like no menu at all?
So, yeah.
Or you mean like no physical menus?
No physical menu.
So the QR code.
Right.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Just because, like, yeah, you're gonna have to have the occasional menu for, I hate to say it, the senior citizen, the young at hearts, because they're not gonna. I mean, unless they're tech savvy, like they're not gonna scan a QR code with their phone. So yeah, you're gonna need those occasional menus. But I really hope it dissolves soon because I feel like menus, when they are like passed out, like for sometimes like they're as big as like my chest. And then other times they're as like a decent size. But I think the most awkward thing is if you're with a group of 12 people, stacking all of your menus up and then handing it to the waiter or waitress. Like, it's kind of awkward. It's like, oh yeah, here you go. Like, here's your stuff. Like, I'd rather prefer just on my phone. And they're like, okay, sounds good. And they walk out and it's much quicker to get a food order in than it is stacking menus, putting the menus back and then going to the back of the kitchen and then making an order.
It is pretty awkward too when you're in a big group and then you're trying to pass your menu down and someone's trying to order and they're trying to like make eye contact and avoid the menu getting in between you. But yeah, it could come down to a thing where like they always ask if you need any kids menus. Mm-hmm. Now they can ask if you need any menu at all, or can you please use the QR code? That's a neat idea.
And I want some crayons for coloring.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt, last word for what's the word? It's going to be attract. Do we need to make you another dating profile again this year?
No, I hope not.
Why? Do you have a girlfriend?
No, what? But hopefully I do at some point.
It'll happen one day, Matt.
Sure.
I want to say, what do you find most attractive in a lady? Let's ask you that, Matt. What
do
you find? Yeah, come on. Here we go.
Just someone with a good personality.
Yes.
I gotta have someone that I can like talk to about. But like, I don't want someone that's like exactly similar like me. Like, I feel like I need someone that's gonna like. I tend to be more introverted than extroverted. I think I need someone that can be introverted at some points, but also sometimes is gonna bring out the extrovert in me.
Matt, I hope you know that I'm already taken, so that deal's off. So
damn. Tax benefits.
Tax benefits would have been nice. Any thoughts on the word attract?
I can't think of anything right now, except hopefully I'm not attracting COVID.
Yeah,
it's not COVID. I just want that on the record. It is not COVID.
It's not COVID.
This
is why we're doing a remote podcast.
Exactly.
As well.
Yes. Exactly.
Test negative if it's truly that.
Yes. Positive vibes only, people.
Yes, the only things
Or negative vibes only.
The only negatives that we're testing for is pregnancy and a COVID test.
Absolutely.
That's an approved message from the Funny Business Podcast.
Facts.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to take a short break. We're going to thank some sponsors. And when we come back, Matt is taking the lead of this episode of the Funny Business Podcast. Matt, I got to tell you, I am so happy we're continuing to make more episodes for our podcast.
You're so right, Mike. I really am enjoying hearing how awesome each episode is every week from everyone. It's so easy to do.
It is so easy. And we have Anchor, our sponsor for this episode, to thank for. Anchor is free to anyone that wants to start a podcast. It's easy for beginners with the creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also helps distribute our podcasts so our listeners can tune in to their platform of choice, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more.
And Mike, I gotta tell you, I was skeptical before, but we actually are making a profit off this podcast. We are still a small podcast, but it's nice to see the progress we have made with each episode with that money.
Yes, we are making it rain. Kind of. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm.
And who knows, you may start a podcast with your best friend.
That's right. Roommates for life.
Okay, let's slide into the sports segments for today. First time in 2021, we're sliding into the sports segments. We're going to start with football. So the regular season is over. This weekend, we have 3 playoff games, both Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be awesome. First time ever, because they added a 7th playoff team. They added it because of COVID. I think they're probably going to keep it because fans seem pretty excited. For anyone that's curious, Nickelodeon game is Sunday at 4:30. It is the Bears at the Saints, and it's going to be weird.
Yes.
But the big news in football this week, if it's not the playoffs, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Mike, we're going to start the sports segments in 2021 with one of our favorite things to do, and that is shit on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I can't wait. So, you're asking what happened. Well, the Eagles played the Washington football team on Sunday Night Football, last regular season game of the year. And while the Eagles had nothing to play for, the football team did. So if the football team won, which they did, they won the division. If the Eagles would have won that game, the New York Giants would have won the division, would be going to the playoffs. Washington would not. The issue came in the third quarter when Eagles head coach Doug Peterson took out Jalen Hurts, who was a rookie quarterback, for no reason, to put in the backup, the third string quarterback, Nate Sudfeld, in a move that just showed that they did not want to win, that they were intentionally trying to lose the game, because now that they lost that game, they improved their draft pick from the 9th pick to the 6th pick. Now, Giants players and fans were furious, saying that Peterson messed with the integrity of the game, and he intentionally lost the game. It screwed them out of the playoffs in a way, because they were competitive in the first 2.5 quarters, and then he put in Nate Sudfeld, not to reckon Nate Sudfeld. He was bad, very bad, and then it messed with the playoff scenario. So people are upset. I have a lot of points I wanted to get to, but I'm going to throw it to you for your thoughts on the scenario. Should people be mad at the Eagles? Should Giants fans be mad? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it would be, let's put the Giants position in regards to the Steelers position. I feel like let's just say the Steelers were in the Giants' shoes at the moment. Like, if the Eagles won, Steelers would make playoffs. Eagles lost, yeah, so on. We would be pissed off because that's our team, and literally it falls in the hands of one team that just didn't want to give 100% that night. And like, it's kind of like one of those things where, it's like a performance evaluation, and having you just fold and put in the towel, that's a huge demeanor, and that's a needs improvement, my friend. Like, that's an MP on a performance evaluation, because why do that? Why? I mean, I get it. You're looking for a better round draft pick, but having a one person that's not going to improve your team standing. What's going to improve your team standing is actually playing like a team, focusing on what needs to be worked on because you apparently didn't make the playoffs or even seeded in the playoffs, and seeing exactly what needs to be working on. Then you can work off in the free agency, the trades and whatnot. So maybe there is a free agent, maybe there is a draft pick that actually fits your needs. I feel like you can negotiate a little bit more than just sitting there and saying, you know what, we're just going to wait for the draft pick to get us.
I think it's a fair point. I mean, people tend to turn a blind eye. Now, I have a lot of points that I'm going to briefly touch on. They're not all mine. One of my friends I was talking with made a good point. Why would this be okay? Just because there's nothing to play for, you throw in the towel. But when the Sixers were tanking for 3 years to get better teams, that was okay. Like, you can't say one or the other is okay. Intentionally losing in any sport should never be okay because you're getting paid millions of dollars. Now, not everyone's getting paid millions of dollars, but you're getting paid a lot of money to play football, to coach football, to win games. So even if you don't have anything to play for, still play hard, play for the fans. Now, Giants fans, Giants players, they have the right to be a little upset, but at the end of the day, you finished your season 6-10. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Right. They're watching the football team 7-9. They're going to the playoffs. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You lost a lot of games you could have won, so I don't want to hear it that much from you guys because if you finish 6-10, you should never play in the playoffs.
Yeah, ultimately, Giants fans shouldn't be mad at the Eagles. They should really be mad at themselves. I agree with you 100%. You can't blame somebody else for your own wrongdoing. So I get that point. I think it's just a bad framing that the Sixers, for instance, like bringing up that Sixers point, Sixers were in no position whatsoever besides playing against teams. NBA is different. I guess we put that out there. Obviously, football is different than basketball. But having those chances with the 76ers is more broader than football. Because football, there's how many teams? It's like
32.
And NBA, there's 60, 30. So even for that, like the standings per se, like the standings are only 6. I'm so bad at football. I'm sorry.
Football's 4 in each division.
Yeah,
and
4 in each
5 in each division.
So you're having more. You have a more margin, lesser of a margin for you to actually make something. So I agree to disagree with those points being made.
And then the only other thing I want to touch on, Nate Sudfeld, the third string quarterback who came in for the Eagles, he should be livid because he basically got told, you're not good enough to win us the game, but you're bad enough to help us lose it. And that's why you got put in the game. I'd be furious if I was him.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the coaching staff is, what's going to happen to the coaching staff come management. So,
yeah, as for this recording today, Doug Peterson's supposed to be meeting with the owner. And now there's a lot of Eagles fans or Eagles players coming out and saying that they were not told this before the game this was going to happen. They were very mad, and there's reports that some of the players had to be held back from the coach after the game was over because they were so mad. If they keep Peterson and next season starts off bad, it's not going to end well for him.
Being a football coach is probably one of the sports you don't want to get your players
Probably
upset.
not. No, you don't want like a 6'6", 280-pound defensive lineman getting in your face. That's probably not going to end well for you.
Big yikes.
Other big football news we had to start off the year, college football playoffs are underway. Alabama beat Notre Dame. We all saw that coming. Ohio State beat Clemson. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it was surprising. I watched a little bit of that.
Yes. So Alabama, Ohio State in the national championship game. I'm not even going to talk about that. I would like to get your opinion on the 4-team playoff. Is 4 teams enough? Because I would say no.
Yeah, I mean, see, I hate comparing basketball again. Here we go. We're going from professional basketball to college basketball. Round of 32, round of 64, like the amount of teams that are a part of the NCAA March Madness, like anyone can make it. So I think there's that margin again that I feel like we're gonna. That's the theme of this the sports segments is the margin. Like you're having more margin to have better upsets and more competition. But I feel like Notre Dame we hear every freaking year. We hear what is it? Ohio State as another one every year.
Clemson,
Alabama, all those things. Like it's almost like the Warriors playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers when back then back to back. Like it was not fun after the third time.
So I have some stats for you.
Okay.
So this was the 7th year of the college football playoff. It's always been 4 teams. So there's been 28 spots in the playoff in total. How many different schools do you think have made up those 28 spots? So there's 28 possible schools that could have made it.
Okay.
How many different schools do you think have?
And sorry, because I'm gonna say like 2, and you're like, Mike, you need
No,
like...
so there's 28 possible schools.
Yes.
How many different universities
Yes.
have made different? So like if
Oh,
Alabama's
okay.
made it multiple times, there
Gotcha.
only one.
Sorry.
How many different? No, it's confusing.
Math.
Yes. So how many different do you think have made it up?
6.
11,
Okay. That's
which
close.
is still not good.
That's still not good.
Now, how many different schools have made the championship game out of those 11?
4.
6.
Dang it.
Still not good.
No.
So we had Ohio State and Oregon played the very first one, and Ohio State making it out for the second time. Alabama, Clemson, who have played in, they've been a part of each of the last 5 championships. Georgia made it once. LSU won it last year. I'm getting sick and tired of watching the same teams make the playoff every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that they are the best 4 teams in football. I get that. But at the same time, like you said with college basketball, anyone can win on any given day. I think it should be 8 teams. You get the conference champion of the Power 5 schools. ACC, SEC, Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12. Then you get the highest ranked team out of the lower 5 conferences. That gives you 6. And then 2 at-large teams. They can be from any conference. If you give 8, you can start the playoffs a week early than you normally do, 2 weeks early. Gets more media revenue, more TV revenue, more revenue for the schools. It just gives the opportunity for more teams to play. And I saw Colin Cowherd made the point that, well, even in college basketball, there's 68 schools that make it. And people keep complaining, oh, the 69th team should have been in instead of this team. You're always going to have that. You have that with a 14 playoff. The issue is everyone's getting tired of watching the same teams play in the playoff every year. We just want something different. I don't know if you have anything else.
You make good points. That's, again, is it great for enrollment that, Clemson makes college football playoffs it does, but I just don't think as far as revenue, I hate to say it, college sports with revenue, college sports with the NCAA, not college revenue, whatever. Just the fact that you would be getting more viewership if you actually had different teams in the playoffs, and maybe you could get more fans based on that.
They would definitely make a lot of media revenue.
Take Penn State for example. Penn State in Pennsylvania, that is the number 1 school in Pennsylvania, but there's so many other different colleges and universities that you can go to. I remember going to a first grade classroom back when I was a freshman, and I had this. It's the cougar for our school.
Right.
And first grader goes, "Is that the Nittany Lion?" So it's just so embedded in everyone's heads, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame. You have all these great schools, but at the same time, I just don't. There needs to be more variety. That's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's at the end of the day. You're right. So, moving from a sport that's almost over to a sport that just began, NBA season is underway. We're not really going to dive into the X's and O's because, quite frankly, it's too early. All I'm going to say is that the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference right now are the Lakers, Clippers, and Suns. And I think I heard that from someone once. I don't know who said that, but you should probably listen to him. He's pretty smart.
Oh my God.
But one of the big stories, James Harden, James Olive Harden, as some people call him, he got fat. There was a photo of him in training camp. He was really fat.
Or the memes Houston Hot Pockets.
Houston Hot Pockets is also a good one. So he's going to get traded at some point. So I figured real quick, Mike, I made 6 trade scenarios like I did for Giannis, and then Giannis ended up not getting traded.
Yeah, max
so let's
contract.
dive into it. First team, 76ers. So it'd be James Harden, PJ Tucker, Ben Simmons, Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, and a first-round pick. Your thoughts?
That's a dent in 76ers.
The Sixers have the best record in the NBA. But
I wouldn't risk it.
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
So Ben Simmons is averaging like 12 points a game.
For other,
he made a three-pointer.
He made a three-pointer.
Made a three-pointer. I would do this in a heartbeat if I'm Philly, because Ben Simmons in the playoffs is just going to clog the lane and he's not going to be able to do anything. Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks. James Harden, Ben McLemore for Chris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, DJ Wilson, and 2 first-round picks.
I would take that.
I think that would make him the best team in the East.
Now, however, I would be interested to see what Giannis and him are together. Like, what's the
they don't like each other.
That?
That's true at the MVP thing. I forgot about that. Number 3, New Orleans Pelicans. James Harden, PJ Tucker for Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, JJ Redick, Jackson Hayes, who's like a young center, he's pretty good, and a first-round pick. James Harden and Zion would be interesting. And then you got Brandon Ingram. That would be interesting. I'm just rolling through these quick. Minnesota Timberwolves. Harden and Tucker for D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, number 1 pick in last year's draft, Josh Okogie, and a first-round pick.
I think Okogie's doing well with.
He's not bad.
Not bad.
I think Minnesota at some point, Karl Anthony Towns is going to want to trade. So instead of trading him, why don't you bring someone in that can help make him stay?
Yeah.
Portland Trailblazers. James Harden, Daniel House Jr. for CJ McCollum, Zach Collins, Gary Trent Jr., some no-name guy, and 2 first-round picks.
I feel like, see, I'm always not like, if it's a star guard like Damian Lillard, I'm always a little hesitant on that. Like, just saying, like, I don't know how that's gonna be. That's my thought. Like, I'd be hesitant on that.
I just did this one for fun because Lillard and Harden would be must-watch TV, but their defense is already so bad, James Harden would not help. And then the last one, this is because this team's off to kind of a good start this year, Sacramento Kings. James Harden, PJ Tucker for Buddy Hield, Corey Joseph, Jabari Parker, shout out Duke, and 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of basketball, but Kings that's under the radar, man. That's pretty under the radar.
Yeah, they're playing well. Whether it happens or keeps up, we'll see. But we'll probably have more NBA talk as the season gets on, and I'm sure I'll be ranting about the Suns at some point. Another big story in sports. We're getting close to the Baseball Hall of Fame announcements, which everyone is excited for, obviously. And it's a big deal to have a vote in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So there was a first-time voter this year, and Mike, you would think your first-time voting, it's a lot of pride. You know, you're excited to finally have a voice in the say. And then you have this guy, David Skretta. He submitted a blank ballot. He did not vote for anyone in his very first year. This is asinine.
Fire him.
This is asinine.
Get him out.
Now, we're going to get into another issue with the Hall of Fame.
That's so sus. Like, get him out.
Anyone at any point in time, I don't care if it's your first year or your 20th year, if you don't vote one person, you should not ever have a vote again. It's ridiculous. Now the way it works is if you don't get 5% of the vote, then you're off the ballot next year. So just think of the guys that maybe he thinks could be Hall of Famers, just not maybe it's their first year, they don't want to get in their first year. Vote for him so he can stay on the ballot. You have to show some, and I'm sorry, put effort into thinking about it, but you got to show some effort. Like, this is ridiculous. Now, the big issue is there's guys on the Hall of Fame ballot, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, guys who use steroids. And a lot of people don't think they should be in the Hall of Fame. So, Mike, I'm going to throw it to you. Should steroid users be in the Hall of Fame?
I would say yes. Because let's look at it this way. Hall of Fame is meant for what you've done for the sport. I get cheating is cheating, but Pete Rose is banned for baseball for life for something stupid that's now actually legal. So, right, yes.
Yes.
Sammy, those names, I get it. Not rules were meant to be broken. records were broken by those individuals. And, Sammy Sosa is a star name for the Chicago Cubs. Like, was a superstar for the Chicago. Like, my mom loved baseball so much because Chicago Cubs was the only baseball team that was on as a channel at her place. But it's the same. I hate to say it, as much as I'm okay with him, it's the same as A-Rod with the Yankees. Like, it's he's
going to be on the ballot next year.
Like,
I think
he'll be on the ballot. He's used steroids. Like. Yes, did they, like, again, I think my only rub would be they broke records. That's that. But they also did a lot for baseball. And even with baseball, like, having the revenue coming in, like all the jerseys that people bought of Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, like, people literally got their pitching stance after or pitching or batting stance, depending on how they are, of, these great players. I just think, I feel like it's one of those, like, nagging pieces, like, steroids, like, no, like, you took steroids, ha ha, like, okay, great, like, yeah, I do what I want with my body. It's,
I agree. It's as much as it sucks, and they should be in the Hall of Fame. I agree. As it's a bad eye for the sport, it's still part of the sport. Like, you can't just erase history that happened. It still happened. Like, these are, whether they did steroids or not, they're some of the best players that have ever played the game, and the game would be totally different without them. Like, for so long, baseball, like, maybe allegedly, I don't know if it's true or not, but they allegedly kind of knew for a while what was going on, and then the media kind of caught up with it, and then they kind of released sanctions and all that stuff. But I think what they should do, let them into Hall of Fame, and then in the museum or every record they have, put a little asterisk.
Yep.
A little asterisk, and say, this person used steroids. Like, you may have brought up a great point with Pete Rose. 2 years ago, me and my dad went to Mariano Rivera's induction ceremony.
Which was awesome, by the way.
That was one of the coolest things I ever
awesome
saw in
for
my
you,
life.
meaning.
One of the coolest things I ever did in my life. But we were walking down, like, downtown Cooperstown, and they have, like, a lot of shops and stuff. So we walked in this one shop. We were just looking at stuff. And we go to walk in the back, and guy's like, "Oh, you can't go back there. There's not a Hall of Fame, but there's a guy back there signing autographs." And we're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." We didn't get it because you had to pay. We look in the back. It was Pete Rose. So they bring him to the Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, whether he did it or not, but the town of Cooperstown is all about the Hall of Fame. They're bringing Pete Rose in for revenue to sign autographs, and he's not even allowed in the Hall of Fame. That, like, broke my heart. Like, Pete Rose is one of the best players. He has the most hits in baseball history. Like, as much as it sucks that you guys did cheat, they're still part of the game. They should be in the Hall of Fame with everybody else. Just put an asterisk next to their stuff.
Even with baseball. Even with Pete Rose. Like, I feel like Pete Rose is more apt for being a Hall of Famer than the people who use steroids. Like,
now, the one thing I would be interested to see is, I don't know if the Black Sox scandal that happened in the 1920s when they threw the World Series, like, that's still something that's talked about. Obviously, with the Astros, it got brought up a lot. I don't know if those guys are in the Hall of Fame. I would assume not. But again, you can't just erase history that you don't like.
Yeah.
That concludes the sports segments for today. It is time for Dude, That's Crazy. You all know how this works. So, Mike, would you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Matt, I'm going to let you go ahead first.
Okay. I'm going to save my best one for last, because I texted you about it, I think, like a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. I read this on TikTok at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I just couldn't sleep. And I just laid there in bed for like 15 minutes, and like my mind was in a pretzel. But my first one I am going to do, let me pull it up. It is: there are animals that need glasses. We just don't know it.
You have a point.
Right? Because there's animals that need glasses. We just don't know.
Okay, first of all, dude, that is crazy. But on top of that, let's talk about birds for a hot second. Do you know how many times freaking birds hit windows? It's insane. Like,
I mean, birds aren't even real. They're
birds are
government agents, but that's a topic for another day. But no, that's true. The birds were probably the number one animals that need glasses.
And even like we talk about it all the time with dogs and cats. Like, oh yeah, like he's blind in his left eye. Like, how do we know that? Because we're with them every day. But then there's things like fish. Fish may be contacts. Like, sometimes fish are pretty stupid.
Could you imagine being a fish and that's blind? That's got to be tough.
That's
Swimming in the rocks and swimming into the coral.
Oh, man. Yeah. Spiders, too. Oh, could you imagine 8-piece glasses for spiders?
Oh, man, that'd be expensive.
That'd be weird.
That'd be mad expensive.
Maybe just one big contact that, like, that's a patent.
That's actually not a bad idea.
That's
just a giant contact lens.
Government.
It's like those rec specs, but it's just like a giant contact lens.
I want government to fund me in my research of a contact that will fit a spider's eyes.
I will donate 5 cents to your research.
I shall raise you 6.
Sold.
Yeah, you got a great point, Matt. Like,
yeah, people don't think of that.
People don't think about that. That's for sure.
So with you, you're first. Dude, that's fucking crazy.
All right. So this is a big shout out to my dad. Because my dad's a logger, or the people who cut down trees. Not trees.
I
like
saw that
Amazon
TikTok
folk.
he posted.
Yo,
It was interesting.
Fireman.
Yeah.
A little context for everybody who doesn't know about logging or landscaping. Those people will cut down trees that are either dead, dangerous, or simply needs to be cut for any other reason like that. Not like the Amazon forest where they're cutting down trees for yada, yada, yada. Like, that's what my dad does. He's made that point plenty of times, just like hunting. But, Matt, have you ever considered how many trees does it need to make a forest?
Oh.
So
Wait.
even
What?
yeah, how many trees does it need to make a forest?
Is there like an actual number?
No. Think about it. Has there ever been a number saying, "Yep, that's a forest"?
So you're saying if we have 2 trees in our backyard, that's a forest? Whoa. Dude, that's crazy. That is something like you didn't ever think of before. Yeah, that's wild.
You're mesmerized.
Yeah.
Let me just forest.
I don't. I mean, yeah, you think of a forest, you think of like thousands and thousands of trees. But like, if you go to, would that mean like Central Park in New York City is a forest?
It's an area of land dominated by trees. If there's literally 2 trees in the grass,
so we live in a forest. Whoa. That just put my mind in a pretzel. That's freaky.
Matt, I'm so ready for this one.
All right. So this is either you're going to laugh at this or you're going to be like, whoa. So here we go. Lamps in video games use real electricity. I'll say it again for the people. Lamps in video games use real electricity.
All right. Dude, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but like you don't think you see a lamp, you're like, oh, it's a fake lamp. Is it? Is it a fake lamp? Because it's lit up using electricity.
Okay, now that you put it that way, yes, that's
yeah. Like you just think, oh, it's a fake lamp. Like who cares about that? But that lamp would not work without electricity.
Man, that's dude. I love lamp.
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
I love electricity. I love, dude. That's crazy.
Amen, brother. Okay, I have actually 2, but I'm trying to figure out which one I want to say. One is more statistical, but then it's just more so to think about. But I'll save that for another day.
Okay.
So here's mine. So when you empty your glass, let's say you filled up with water. When you empty your glass, you use the top of the glass to empty it. But when you use a straw, aren't you emptying it from the bottom?
Well, yeah, dude. Wait. But hold on, that is crazy. But I'm trying to. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay, I see what yes, that is crazy. I was thinking something weird in my head.
Just crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah, you don't think of it. That is kind of
crazy.
No, it's crazy. Did I only say that's crazy?
You said crazy like 3 times. I'm like,
wow.
I guess it's just crazy then.
I don't have COVID. Yeah, that is crazy. Oh man, straws are. I don't even know. I'm stumped. I'm just stumped.
Do you drink from a straw as much?
No, even when I go to a restaurant, I usually
Really?
don't use the straw. Yeah,
Save the straws. Straws are evil.
Yeah, I'm not a straw person.
Unless they're reusable.
Yeah, those are fine, but like plastic straws, get out of here. Trying to save the turtles, bitch.
Not the turtles. That's a joke. It's for sure.
Yes.
Reusable straws, or reuse a nice little reusable cup that you can get on Amazon.
I think Starbucks got rid of their straws. Now they have like not a plastic, but like a lid that you just sip from. I love that.
A lid.
Like it's basically like a hot coffee lid for cold drinks, which is perfect.
Oh yeah. No, dude, that's good.
Yes.
Well, Matt, another episode wrapped up on the
first
Funny
one in
Business
2021.
Podcast. I think we did a good job.
Yeah, it felt
week.
Once we got like halfway through, felt like we was just like another normal episode.
Besides you almost dying.
But yeah, hopefully next week I'll be better.
Yeah, hopefully next week. Well, guys, again, make sure you follow us on our social media. If you want a really easy social media link that you can go to with all the links that are necessary, make sure you go to solo.to/funnybusiness. Again, like solo, what Matt is, .to/funnybusiness. You called yourself out during that last. You'll find all of our YouTube channels to watch. You'll find all of our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Twitch. We're starting to finalize some things for Twitch. Make sure you stay tuned for that. We were running 120 frames a second on Fortnite the other night, but unfortunately, my computer just can't handle that. But
we got more games we're coming with too.
More games are coming up. Make sure you find out whatever the heck we are doing, and make sure you share this podcast with a friend. Be sure you tell somebody you love them.
Yep. We got some new segments coming your way in the future.
Yes, sir.
We both come up with some new content in general. Just going up and up.
Mm-hmm. Up. Oh wow, up. DMCA.
Yes.
We gotta watch out for that on Twitch. What?
Big time.
Well, until the next episode, guys, we'll see you all in the next one.
Stay safe, everyone.